So, Superman's Granda.
Oh, nice. Yes, you've read the notes.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So that came about very randomly, but back in the days, I was running Way North, which is a watch company. Had a lot of free time. This is kind of when I was like should have been a student, but sort of quit uni to then start this.
Become a student of entrepreneurship.
Yes, student of life. And then I just working on my own on my laptop a lot. And then I was just like, oh, I'm gonna try and get into something like that, just like fills my time and gets me with people. And my brother had done like one day on Extras NI, and then I signed up when I was as soon as I hit 18, and then for the next 6 years ended up on a whole host of random situations and shows, including Krypton I worked on, which is for about 2 or 3 months, and ended up being like the body double for like Superman's grandfather.
Epic.
And that was great.
Big claim to fame.
Yeah, other stuff.
Shout out to the PT.
Yeah, I was on a bus in a breastfeeding commercial.
Shout out to all the breastfeeding mums out there.
Yeah, I was a dead body on a show. I was in like a diaper, just like everything else in the buff. I was Bran in Game of Thrones. I was like his stand-in.
Unreal.
So just like sat in his wheelchair for shots, and then they would set it all up, and then I just go home and get paid. And it would be the easiest thing ever.
Unreal.
So shout out to the extras department for that.
We have a little world exclusive to break here.
Right.
We have some exclusive information about you that was just revealed to us moments before we started to record from the one and only Claire Halliday, Ormeau Baths, as Roscoe calls her. Apparently you were in Blue Lights.
I was. That was a recent
Mate,
endeavor.
that's pretty mental. And she spotted you.
Yeah. I think that was one of my last. It was that, and then I also did my very last one, which was maybe like last year. I was like in like a property news ad or something, and I was like in the buff coming out of the shower, and I was like the rowdy housemate or something. It's so random, but it's great. They paid you like 200 quid for I think 3 hours.
Class.
And like you can't get any better, and you're like on this random wee set. Turns out it was my neighbour who was filming it. I didn't know the whole time. And then I went downstairs, and she's like, "You were the body." So yeah, Blue Lights, and then that, and lots of random stuff. So
congratulations.
Thank
you.
you.
I think we'll talk about lots of random stuff as we get into it.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of Meet the Members, a podcast series where we get to chat to some of the incredible people who call Ormeau Baths their business home. This is Reuben McFeeters. He's an awesome guy. He runs a hot chocolate company called Hotties. He is a social media strategist at DHD, who take up that desk way up there on the left.
There's lots of us.
Every single Thursday. It's a whole pile of them. And very creative guy. And you've done lots of great things. I was on ReubenMcFeeters.com.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
Oh brilliant.
When did you make that website?
I made that. It was during COVID, so actually like not too long ago, but just a lot of stuff on it is quite funny.
I
Just
love
like
it.
Little snippets.
I actually had a really good laugh on it.
That's
But
good.
you have done many things.
I've tried. Yeah.
You've dipped the old toe in lots of waters.
Yeah.
Drop shipping.
Yeah. Did drop shipping. That was great.
Before it was cool.
Before it was cool. Did drop shipping far too early, and then tried it again. Went fantastic for about a month, and then realized drop shipping isn't it. So it was good, but okay, like I've just tried to do a lot. I think that's the best way of sort of seeing what you like and what you don't like, and if it's a good thing. You're training, you're not trying. You know what I mean? So like you just go to the gym like you would, but if you try, you go maybe once in a while, and you're like, oh, I've tried it. But if you're training, it doesn't really feel like a failure, or if you've gone too far on something, it doesn't feel like you come back from it because you're just like, just training.
Yeah.
So I think that's how I've looked at stuff, and then just trained as much as possible in random different wee pockets.
It's a good mentality. Why did you drop out of uni?
Yeah, I went in May of my A levels. Not great timing. I started again. What I said there was Way North Watches. So that then ended up being like my first foray into e-commerce. And how I did that was in school I used to like sell pound coins on eBay. So that was my like first real dive, like way back. I used to sell sweets in school. And it was there's different city series of coins. So I'd go to the bank, exchange 100 quid, get £100 of coins, sort through all the valuable ones, give all the coins back that weren't valuable, and then sell the rest. So I'd sell like a pound coin for like a tenner.
Unbelievable.
Just because I had like Edinburgh on it. And then I used that money and then just ran. I don't know why I went down that rabbit hole, but it's just that I want to buy like an affordable watch that looked nice, but I like didn't want to spend too much money. That wasn't out there. and then just started a company. It was just complete naivety, but it worked through. So that was started in May of my A-levels, and then sort of continued. I went to Canada for 3 months, and then when I came back, it was like still there. And then ran that for like 6 years.
Unreal.
And travelled, and I had no clue what I was doing, but it was incredibly fun. Like, it was good, and that sort of gave me a real taste of like, oh, like life can be different in a way, you know. It doesn't have to be one way. So,
what was kind of like your entrepreneurial wake up moment, or were you always just a wee bit fast and loose?
I think it was always a bit fast and loose. Like, I think I always like to try stuff.
Yeah.
I think probably seeing that actually work and like seeing money in my account. And like at that stage, I didn't even like. I always looked at people in jobs, even like throughout those years, and just thought to myself, "Oh, they've got it figured out." And then it wasn't until I think I actually got a job, maybe after that, my first job I think was like Mass Direct, and I became their digital man.
Unreal.
And that was great. But even it was the first time I got into that, I realized like, oh, like I was smashing it, and I never realized. I just thought, I'm doing something I like. But then I didn't realize, like, oh, I was smashed it there. That's probably the way to do it.
It's interesting, like all the skills that you think are kind of just like, oh yeah, everyone can do this. You go into a corporate environment and everyone's like, how do you do that?
Yeah,
it's like social media and grannies. It's almost that same, the gap between the skills that you have as a, you know, say a dropshipper and an entrepreneur versus someone who works with civil service. No disrespect to either of those people.
Yeah.
It's like you just have a different way of thinking.
Well, I think it's just like a big part of it's just like the fear factor of like doing something and it might be wrong and you don't really care because you've tried loads of stuff and a lot of the times it's been wrong.
Yeah.
And I think then when you go into like an environment like that, and even now like in DHD, like that's also like that a different environment. But it just gives you a little bit, if you've done stuff on the side, it gives you just a little bit more freedom to be like, don't sweat the small stuff. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because you can always just try it again, and people might like be like, this guy's an idiot. But you still don't really care about that as much, maybe just because you know you're trying, and that's better than nothing.
Yeah, I can see how for a guy like you, the digital landscape is a really nice playground because it's so low risk. You can throw stuff out there and it doesn't work. But then you get into hot chocolate, and that starts to feel a wee bit more like, oh, there's stock involved here, like. There's like tangible assets here.
Well, I think I'm actually a product dude. I'm a product guy.
Tell me.
Like, I think what scares me, actually, and especially being here, see like SaaS products, scary.
Because they're just so
for some reason
ethereal in there.
Yeah, and like obviously like you raise money and you have a seed round and you have this like not fantasy, but you have this idea that you then sell before it's like tangible. Whereas actually with the watches, even with the point coins, and even with Hotties and everything else in between, all the products have been tangible. So I know there's value in them. And I'm just like, right, if I make this look a wee bit nicer, or if I do this or design this way, or if I put this message behind it, that's adding value. But see when it's like a SaaS product or something like that, and there's actually, it does provide a service, but there's less visible value. I really struggle with that. So I think actually hot chocolate was the big thing I wanted with hot chocolate is I wanted something that was small enough to post for a large letter stamp, and I wanted something that I was passionate about because I had done loads of stuff. The big one that I found that I didn't enjoy was like Love Island sweatshirts. Did you see that?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. That was
something like I'm a polar bear. Yeah. What was it called? Muggy
sweatshirts.
Yeah.
So that was just me like in my bedroom just being like, I'll make a little bit of money here. But like when you do stuff like that, you quickly realize it fades so quickly because you're not passionate or you don't love it. So I was like, I need to pick something that I really love. And it was just after sort of a messy break from another agency job that I had a terrible experience with. I was like, right, I just need to get out and do stuff on my own again. I was like, I want to pick something that's just like exactly what I love. And I love hot chocolate. And then I love products. And it all sort of fit. Now, I completely fumbled my way through to where I am now in terms of the business, but it's been class. Like, I've loved that. So, yeah, I think that, like, physical products is actually something I love.
That's where you're.
But in a digital world.
Ooh.
If that makes sense.
There's your new LinkedIn bio.
Yeah. So, Hotties has been the first time that I've got into, like, wholesale and like food service and all that side of things where it's like real businessy people. But actually I just look at it from a digital like landscape, which gives me a wee bit of more of a comfortability.
Yeah.
So
was there any tips that you picked up selling the £1 coins? Like, how would you present the £1 coins to make them more attractive?
I think the only thing I got from that was you just have to look in different places for different opportunities.
Right.
You know, like it's just like iPhone photos on eBay.
Yeah.
But yet a pound coin that everyone would spend on a daily basis, someone else is valued 10 times higher, which is ludicrous. So it's just about, I think that really reframed me thinking of like, you just got to look, maybe this isn't valuable here, but it might be valuable there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same way the hot chocolate. You could sell Cadbury's hot chocolate, and that would be great. And there's a market for that. But then there's actually a market for really nice hot chocolate, and it's a wee bit smaller, but there's still a massive audience there. And the same with the pound coins. For 99% of the population, selling pound coins for more than £1 is ridiculous. But in the same vein, it's not, because there's enough people that actually want the coins for what they are.
Yeah.
In their value eyes, if that makes sense. So
when you're working with customers at DHD, so you're doing a lot of social media stuff.
Yeah.
How do you encourage people to take the risk of going for a real niche, like serving a specific audience? Because, you know, a lot of small businesses are like, no, but like, we want the 80% of the market. And you're like,
yeah, well, before that, I'll tell you about a bath story.
Please.
So how I'm now in DHD is a completely bath story.
Oh, an Ormeau Baths story?
Yeah.
See, you're talking about like property news in the buff coming out of the shower. I was like, this just could be an actual bath story.
No, like an Ormeau Baths story. It's an Ormeau Baths love story that I'm now in. As in, I fell in love with my boss and then ended up. No, I'm joking. But I do love you, David. But no, that was I was meant to open a shop with Hotties in February of last year. It ended up falling through because it was really damp. Like a day before I was meant to sign the lease. The same week, I get an email from Ormeau Baths saying, hey, there's now a space. Do you want to come in? So I'm just like, devastated. I had planned this big shop. It was going to be my future. And then it ended up being like, right, Ormeau Baths just emailed me. I'll go for it for a month or something. Ended up staying for the next 6, loving it, doing Hotties. And then I met David, the now boss, David Henderson Design of DHD. And then ended up now working for DHD through the baths.
Class.
So shout out to that. Your previous question was about what?
I was asking you, how
do you convince
people to go down to a niche?
A niche? I think the biggest thing isn't necessarily convincing people to go down a niche, but the biggest thing in my role at the minute for being like a social strategist is trying to get people, because most of the businesses are established and they sort of know what they're doing. And like, for one customer's been doing it for 64 years. But the main thing I'm sort of trying to tell with all of them is online that their personality is what will make them different. So I think that's my main thing at the minute. Like, people just want relationship and they just want heart and they want story. So it really I just come to be like, you need to tell your story better rather than like, oh, you need to sell your products to a different niche. I don't think that's necessarily my role, but it does come into it. I think my role is more harnessing their story and how they're telling it online. So maybe through like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever way they're doing it, it's more just like, hey, you're actually like, you've got great products here and maybe you've got your niche right. Like one of them's very high-end luxury. And that's great. And you've got lovely photos. But now that almost doesn't, back in the day, that maybe cut online because that was a rarity. But now like everyone's got high-end content. Your phones are high-end. But actually what people don't have is like a story. They don't have the 64 years of background story, which then allows you to create a brand that's like trustworthy as the main point.
Yeah.
And then after that you can actually like buy into the story and be like, oh, I actually would love to buy from you rather than some online dropshipper, for instance, you know. So I think that's my biggest thing at the minute. Is trying to get people to tell their story a wee bit more with a wee bit more personality.
Love it, mate.
But yeah.
Why do you like coming to work here?
I just think I love it. I think from the get-go, I came in again like this February. Loved it. We're Hotties. Just felt so inspired by the people around me. Felt like because for a long time I was just like a solo entrepreneur, just like in my bedroom, you know, wherever that was. And I got a few offices here and there. I was in like a big warehouse at one stage, just like me and one other guy, and that was great. But it's hard to actually find people that are like-minded. And then you come in here and everyone's like completely on different tracks but doing the same thing with a different or the same mindset. And that was like a big eye opener. But then apart from that, it's just like nice to come to work and everyone's kind of chill.
Yeah.
Because they're not too, they can have stressful days, but everyone's under the same illusion that like they're going towards something. So they're kind of happy about that.
Yeah.
It feels like that anyway. There's not too many people who are like forced to be here. But yeah, I think it's just good people. Helps it along.
It's like the opposite of school because everyone's choosing to be here.
Yes, absolutely. Like we're remote, so we have to come in 1 day a week
Mm-hmm.
for a team day. I'm in 5 days a week just because I like it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like choosing to be here because I'm like, this is good buzz and energy, and I'm in the city and I get to cycle and
Yeah.
it's lovely.
Incredible. Man.
So yeah.
Final question.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time, what age were you when you were selling 1 point coins?
1 point coins, I was probably 15, 16.
Go there. If you could go back in time to 16-year-old Reuben,
Yeah.
you had a couple of minutes, what sort of things would you say to him?
I think one of the biggest things in the minute is that like training, not trying, and then the just like taking action is the biggest thing. I think like so much can stop us from taking action, whether it be like anxiety and fear and what we believe about ourselves, or like even like a big thing was ageism. Like I thought I couldn't do something or I couldn't be in certain rooms because I was like too young. But then back in the day, like that was such an advantage because everyone, and even people did, like when I was doing Way North when I was like 17, people gave me chances and opportunities that like I wouldn't have got now because it would have been like your chance in your arm.
Yeah.
You know, you're an old geezer. Like
Yeah.
even though I'm still young enough. But anyway, so I think the biggest thing I would do is like just take whatever action you can.
Mm-hmm.
Like try as much as possible. If you have any interest, go down it. And like if you do, I think there's a big fear of committing to the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was doing my UCAS, I wanted to be a professional ultimate frisbee player, and that was like the only thing in my mind. I should have done it. I should have just like I did. I really tried, but like even just like following that a little bit more and like.
Because you played for Ireland, didn't you?
Yeah. Like loved ultimate frisbee when I was in school. Like every weekend we'd go down to Cork or Limerick or Kilkenny.
Epic.
And just like go to a frisbee tournament. So random. But yeah, just like that was fun. And I think it was good I tried it, but I think I would just try more and act more. And start a wee side hustle or like go speak to someone and try and learn something from them. Because I think you'll get a lot more. People will be more open.
Yeah.
So yeah, just try more. I think would be my piece of advice.
Awesome, mate. Well, if you would like to check out some other episodes from lovely people like Reuben, actually, quick plug to David Henderson of DHD Design.
Yep.
We did an episode with Dave. If you want to check out the episode with him, we also have episodes with 20 to 30 other members. Wherever you're listening to this, you can click a link to see what Ormeau Baths looks like if you're just listening in. You can come here and get a tour of the place and see if Ormeau Baths would be a good fit for your business home. The team would love to pick up with you. And Reuben, we have really enjoyed this time with you. So thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Roscoe, thanks for producing.
Great producing.
He's a good guy. He knows what he's at.